Hey, what's up coders? Welcome to Vibe Engineering. Today I'm going to show you a workflow that will dramatically improve your productivity, maybe change how you build software with Claude Code. So if you're like me, you've probably had times where Claude Code just feels amazing and it's doing everything right in one shot. But other moments, well, it can get completely sidetracked, especially when a project grows in size. So how do we get that magic consistently? I believe the key is context management. But before going into that, I want to talk about mindset while working with coding agents. So you've got to stop treating Claude Code like a coding tool and start treating it as an actual developer. I kind of think of it as my intern, who is very good at coding, but not so much at the architectural and the big picture stuff. So just think about it. If you get an intern, you will never ask the intern to build the core feature on day one, right? You would probably take weeks to onboard them and show them docs, explain the big picture, and give them clear goals so that you can set them up for success. My entire workflow is built around doing just that. We will give Claude enough contextual knowledge so that it can stay on the track all the time. Let me show you in the demo. All right, so I want to first show you how Claude's memory works. So at the base layer of everything is the large language model, which is the Sonnet and the Opus 4. And these large language models have a context window of 200,000 tokens. So this means that in a single session, all your prompts and all the tool use, the output from the tools, and the response from Claude will all go into this context window. So you've probably seen this quickly filling up. And everything in this context window, Claude can pretty much retrieve it with very high accuracy. But you probably know that it's very easy to get filled up. So on the next layer, it is something I call the compaction. You probably know that there's a /compact command. So that automatically happens whenever you exceed the context window. And what Claude Code does is it do a summary of all your conversations before. But the problem of this compaction thing is it is pretty opaque, and it may summarize the right thing, or it can summarize some trivial stuff that you do not want to focus on, and you actually want to pay attention to something else. I would say that this compaction is not reliable. But on the outer layer, there's one more thing of Claude's memory, and it's actually the file system. So this will include things like your code and documents, claude.md, for example. So these are persistent in the file storage. Once you complete a session and you come back to Claude, it can still go back to recover the context. The problem with this is that once your project gets very large, Claude might not be able to recover the accurate context that is associated with your current task. We are not leaving the Claude's understanding up to chance to rely on the compaction layer, and we are giving it direct access to the ground truth. Okay, so that is the theory. So let us get to the workflow. The first thing about the workflow is if you're starting from scratch, I always suggest using a good project starter template. For example, if you are building a full stack application, one good starter template is the Create T3 app. So this one uses Next.js as well as TRPC and TypeScript for end-to-end type safety. If this does not fit your project, you can just search on Google or GitHub and find another starter template. Just make sure that it has more than 100 stars and has been updated lately. All right, so we'll copy this command here. Let's paste that in. We will build a to-do app as a demo. Yes, TRPC, no authentication for now. Prisma, space. Okay, great, now it's done. Let's do to-do, dev. Okay, great, it's working. Okay, so now we have deployed the starter template. Let us construct the project brain. And I typically just use ChatGPT to do it. And here I already created one. So this document contains the product requirement document, the technical design document, and the UI UX spec for our AI-powered to-do app. So I will leave the prompt of how I created this in the description. And let's copy this one. Please create a /doc folder and put this MVP spec. Perfect. So now let's also run the /init command. And what this command does is to analyze the code base and create an initial claude.md file. You can think of claude.md as the system instruction whenever you use Claude Code across sessions. And you would want to periodically update it so that it is always up to date. All right, great. So now that the claude.md file has been created, let us check out the content. Okay, so that looks good. Let us now create a sequential task list. So I have already copied the prompt. I will just paste that in. Deeply read MVP spec.md, cross-reference with our codebase, and finally construct a list of sequential implementation tasks, which when carried out fully will faithfully reproduce the entirety of the MVP spec. Please append this task list to the end of the MVP spec.md file. So now we are in the claude.md file that init created. It has a pretty good overview, common commands, and architecture overview. I just want to fine-tune this a little bit and add a file reference. File reference is a feature in claude.md file where you can reference another file. So let's add a section here. Important files. Please reference Great. Claude Code will always have a map to our most important documents. Okay, cool. So now it has created a detailed implementation task list and it looks pretty comprehensive with 13 phases. And let's see what it does. Phase 1, database and core models, good. Update Prisma schema, run database migration. So that makes sense. And awesome. Now we are in a good spot. To implement a task, what I do is to just select the task from a task list. And I will say it here, carefully review the MVP spec and cross-reference with the code base. Then implement phase 1, task 1. And here I make sure that plan mode is on by using Shift Tab to cycle to that mode. And what this mode does is before doing any implementation, it will actually create a plan for us to review before actually doing anything. So this is one additional safety net. Let's do it. And you know, whenever Claude completes a task, you can move on to the next task, knowing that Claude fully knows what happened before, because we always have this list in our file system. Great, that is about it. Your main job is no longer micromanaging every single line of code. Your real value as an architect is to create documents that can keep Claude informed at all times and to recover the current state of the project as much as possible. Once you nail the input, I guarantee that the output is going to be amazing. So let's recap. Treat Claude Code as a super talented intern. Always use a starter project, build this project brain with files, and we will use claude.md to give it clear instructions so it can refer back to those files at all times. That's pretty much it. If this was helpful, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe. I'm just getting started to document my journey building startups with AI coding. So I'm learning how to make these videos better every day. If you have any suggestions, please drop them in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.